Girly Girl Bookworm. So today I have my top 10 Book of the Month books that came out in 2019 to share with you. I also have a backlist book that I got from Book of the Month that I really enjoyed this year that I'm also going to be sharing with you. So let's just get started. They're in absolutely no particular order either, by the way. So this one is What Happened in Paradise by Ellen Hildebrand. This is book 2 in the Winter in Paradise series. I was really excited when this was released as a Book of the Month pick because Winter in Paradise was chosen last year and I was nervous that they weren't going to match and that I wasn't going to be able to choose this, but they came through for me. And like I said, this is the second book in the Winter in Paradise series. Winter in Paradise takes place in St. Martin's, which is very different from Ellen Hildebrand's usual writing because normally her books take place in Nantucket. This follows a woman who finds out that her husband has died in a plane crash, which is weird because he wasn't supposed to be where his plane crashed. And not only did his plane crash and he died, but he was with a mysterious woman. So she goes down there, her sons go down there trying to find answers, trying to figure out why her husband was there, and kind of figuring out who this other woman was. And there's another perspective, too, of the friend of the woman who was in the airplane. So there's lots of drama, there's love, there's intrigue. I love the series. I cannot wait for book 3 to come out next year. While I'm on the Ellen Hildebrand train, they also did Summer of '69 this year as a Book of the Month choice, and this was her summer release, and I loved this book. This book is a historical fiction following a family who visit Nantucket for the summer of '69. They follow the mother, the youngest daughter, who I believe she just turned 13, so it's a big year for her. She doesn't want to be going to Nantucket. She wants to be home with her friends. And then there's another sister who is pregnant right now, and she's kind of trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. Her husband wants her to stay home, and she wants to be able to go out and work and things like that. So we are following her perspective, and then we're following the other sister's perspective, who is currently, she decided this summer that she didn't want to go to Nantucket, so she got a job in Martha's Vineyard, which is unheard of, because if you like Nantucket, you don't like Martha's Vineyard, and if you like Martha's Vineyard, you don't like Nantucket. And then we don't get the perspective of it, but there is a brother who has been currently drafted into the Vietnam War, so we see some letters that go back and forth. This was a really fun historical fiction. I flew through this. I really enjoyed getting to know this family, so this has definitely got to be on my top list this year. A book that I just recently read is The Wives by Tarryn Fisher. This was a Book of the Month choice for December. I was so excited that this got to be a Book of the Month choice this month because it comes out at the end of December, so we got it a little bit earlier, so it's like a Christmas gift early. And this follows a woman who is married to a guy who also has 2 other wives, and the rules are that the wives aren't allowed to talk to each other. They they know each other exists, but they aren't allowed to interact with them. And one day she kind of is really starting to get curious about these other wives, and she finds a receipt for a wife in her husband's pocket. And I'm just going to leave it there because that's all you need to know. Fantastic. It did get a little slow. I felt in the beginning I was okay, I get it, enough. I want to know what's happening now. And then it kind of rushed, so it kind of had a pacing issue, but overall I really enjoyed this one. So if you're into thrillers and suspense novels, you need to check this one out. Going with some more suspense, obviously I had to have Lock Every Door by Riley Sager on here. This came out in July, and I was so excited to get my hands on this book. I flew through this. I brought this with me when I went to Lake George, and even though I was traveling, I had to read it, and I read it in one day. This follows a woman who gets a job and her job is to live in this apartment, and she basically gets this deal, if she lives in this apartment for 4 months or something, she gets an exorbitant amount of money. But there are some rules where she's not allowed to talk to other people who live in this apartment. She's not allowed to spend a night away from the apartment, and she's not allowed to have guests to the apartment. But it seems like the dream come true. This apartment is gorgeous. It's obviously a lot of money. And so she moves in, and crazy things start going down. And this apartment building is pretty creepy, very atmospheric. And I love it because it alternates perspectives between, like, what's gonna, like, the events that are gonna occur ahead of time. Like, it'll, like, give you a thing, and then it'll be like 6 days earlier, 5 days earlier, 4 days earlier, 3 days earlier, 2 days earlier, until you get to, like, the main event that you've been kind of seeing little snippets of. So you're, like, trying to figure out, like, how does she get to this point? That was you. That was my daughter. She is my husband's daughter, for sure. Okay. I'm, like, reacting to this, and, like, you can't even hear it anyways. But if you didn't guess, she just blew some gas. Babies. Now she's sneezing. So yeah, love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. So excited that Riley Sager is a 3-time author, and I'm hoping that they continue to publish his books because I love the aesthetic of them. Then I had Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center. I actually read this for NetGalley, but when I saw it was book of the month, I had to also have it because my other book that Catherine Center, How to Walk Away, is also a book of the month choice, so I wanted them to match. This book, it was one of my favorite books of the year by far. It follows a woman firefighter, and she lives, I believe, in Texas with her dad, and she's living life, doing what she needs to do, and something bad happens that she kind of has to, like, that affects her job. And then she also gets a call from her mother, who, like, she doesn't speak to, that's like, you need to come home, I need you to take care of me, I'm having some vision issues, you need to just come stay with me for at least a year. So she decides, you know what, I already have to take a break from work, might as well go somewhere else. So she ends up joining this new firefighter force up in Massachusetts, and these boys do not want a girl firefighter working with them. So she's kind of got to prove herself. There's some romance. It was really good. I was like, my heart was, like, racing by the end. There was, like, this scene that just, like, I just needed to, like, finish. Of course, like, it was, like, right when dinner was, like, ready, and I was like, but I just need to finish. It's so intense. And I had to put it down, and it was, like, the worst feeling. So, like, the minute dinner was over, I was like, okay, and now. So this book was really, really good. If you haven't given Catherine Center a chance, you definitely should. Then we have An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I wasn't crazy about The Wife Between Us. I thought it was good, but it felt like they definitely had more potential than they were showing. And they proved it with this one. This one was definitely a lot better for me. I flew through this book as well. This follows a girl who ends up joining in this psychology study with pretending to be somebody else. She needs some money, and she hears this girl backing out of it, so she's like, I'll go pretend to be her and join the study. And this study ends up being completely crazy, and I'm gonna leave it at that, because I feel like with thrillers, like, I never like knowing a lot about them before going into them, so I would hate to spoil somebody else with a thriller. This one, I basically went in knowing absolutely nothing, so I definitely enjoyed it. I felt like at the end, it kind of wasn't as big of a punch as it could have been, but it was still a fun read, and I'm hoping, again, same like with Riley Sager, I hope that they release You Are Not Alone in this beautiful Book of the Month edition. I just got it approved for NetGalley, but I still, like, want to own it looking like this. So, Book of the Month, get on that. I feel like this is on everybody's list this year, and that is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I definitely didn't love this one as much as everybody else loved this one. This one is another thriller of a woman who is found over her husband's dead body with a gun in her hand, and he has been shot a whole bunch of times in the head. And then she goes completely silent and refuses to talk to anybody for years. And so there's this psychologist who's like, I'm going to be the one who gets her to talk. So We're reading journal entries from her. We are reading him trying to get her to talk. And yeah, again, don't want to spoil it. It wasn't as good as I felt like it could have been. Like, the twist was definitely surprising. I did not see it coming whatsoever. But for some reason, like, I felt like I wasn't as invested in it as everybody else claimed that they were. But it was still definitely a very good book. And I'm looking forward to anything else that Alex writes in the future, for sure. This one is my duo that I was talking about, and that is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch and Recursion by Blake Crouch. I wanted to put this on my list because this one I read in 2019. This came out, I'm going to say, quite a few years ago, 2016, but I just got to it this year, and I loved this book. This is about a guy who ends up kind of traveling through time-ish, and he's, I like don't even know how to put it into words. It's like a science fiction-y, like thriller-y type of book that I really, really enjoyed. But then Recursion came out, and I was like so excited because I like loved this one so much. So I was like, I cannot wait to get to this one. And I didn't love this one as much. I got too caught up in the science of this one. This one has to do with dual memories, where like people all of a sudden were having like these vivid memories of another life that never happened. And they were trying to figure out why this is happening to these people, because they started like killing themselves because they were so confused with what was real and what wasn't real. But I felt like what made Dark Matter so unique, he tried to like do it again in Recursion in a slightly different way, but it felt very repetitively the same. And I had like kind of read these kind of back to back. So unfortunately, Recursion was not as good as I wanted it to be, but Dark Matter definitely was really, really good. So if you like Dark Matter, you like Recursion, and vice versa. I just got two in my head with Recursion. I think I read them just too close together, but really enjoyed Blake Crouch this year. I've been kind of avoiding Dark Matter because I just like never thought I would like it, but then I heard somebody kind of compare it to a thriller, and I was like, maybe, and I'm so glad that I did because I really, really enjoyed it. Last two are thrillers still, and This Is No Exit by Taylor Adams. This book, again, I think that a lot of people loved it a little bit more than I did, but I still really enjoyed it. This is about a girl who is trying to drive home to see her mom, who is dying of cancer, and of course she chooses like the biggest blizzard day of all to travel home, and she ends up stuck at this truck stop because her car just won't drive anymore, and she ends up stopping. And there's this whole cast of characters that are also stuck at this truck stop. And she's outside trying to find cell phone reception, and she ends up peeking into this like work van, like a utility van. And she sees a cage with a little girl inside. So she, one, needs to figure out like who is so disturbed to have this little girl locked in a cage, and how do I get this little girl out? So intense journey, very crazy, very hectic. Loved reading this. I saved this for a like snow day because obviously the atmosphere of being cold, and if you have the ability, if you live somewhere where it snows, definitely highly recommend waiting till a snowstorm to read this. What? And the last book I have is For Better and Worse by Margot Hunt. I really enjoy this book. This book follows this husband and wife, and they have a son, and it comes out that the principal at their son's school has been kind of inappropriately like touching children, and they kind of said like when they were dating, hey, like, I bet you we can get away with murder because they're both like lawyers or something. So they're like, we know how we would be able to get off a murder charge. So the wife decides, I know how the justice system works. Let's just go kill the guy, because they find out that the guy was actually like touching their child. So the wife really badly wants to kill the principal, and the husband is like, no, I don't want to, and things ensue. So yeah, really good. I don't want to speak too much. Again, another thriller novel. Don't want to spoil it. So those are my top 10, I guess you could say 11 Book of the Month books for 2019. I'm really excited. I have a whole ton of Book of the Month books like on my shelf right now after like doing a whole bunch of books for trade. So I have a lot to read in 2020, and obviously I have not canceled my membership, and I don't plan on canceling my membership anytime soon. So I will be getting more throughout 2020. If you are interested in the Book of the Month, and I'm not affiliated in any way, shape, or form, I know that it's been going around like rapid fire with Book of the Month YA, but I'm not affiliated at all. I do have a link down below. I think it's like you get your first 2 books for $14.99, or I don't know, it's something. Even if you use it just to get yourself to the website, I don't care. If you do use my link, I believe it gets you a free book and me a free book. But that's it. And like I said, I'm not affiliated in any way. I just really love this membership, and I love the subscription service. I do the year one, which makes the books come out to be like $12 a month, I think. Which for a brand new hardcover, like if I went to the store, this would be easily $27. So to be able to get it for cheaper, and sometimes they release books early, you could add up to 2 books to each book box, and you could either use your credits towards it, or you could pay $9.99. So again, $10 for a $27 book. You can't go wrong. You could skip months, and they make it really easy to skip a month. Their selection game has been definitely going up since I first joined. If you get 12 books, you become a Book of the Month BFF, which I am one of those. So you get a free tote bag once you hit that 12th book. Your birthday, you get a free add-on. So instead of paying $9.99, you get one for free. And then just recently they announced their top 5 books of the year. And next month I will be able to choose one of those 5 to get for free. So I feel like the subscription service is really awesome. It's really flexible, and it really, you can do with it what you want. You can get books that you're interested in, or you can skip if you don't want to. I feel like they always have something for everybody. So yeah, I highly recommend it. I'm going to stop plugging it because, like I said, I am not affiliated in any way. I just super duper love Book of the Month. So like I said, my link will be down below, or just check it out on your own. But yeah, those are my top 10 books, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, everybody.